No, no, no. Does he have a disk drive? No. Dropping everything. What are you doing? I'm looking for that movie we said we'd review. Looking for what movie we said we'd review? Remember, 3 years ago, we were playing 40k? 3 years? What? Yeah, and I want to review it. Why? Because it's about time we got this show on the road. Show? What show? You know, Bolt and Scream. What? Yeah. I'm ScreenScreamer. You're Silverbolt. Well then, grammatically, shouldn't we be Scream and Bolt? We'll work on it. Also, aren't we about, I don't know, 15 years too late for the internet movie critic gig? Any movie worth its salt has been done. If we'd have done the original Star Wars trilogy back when you first planned to, then Decker wouldn't have got to it first. Plus, it's not like a critic calls dibs on a movie and then no one else can review it. Guide to Dark Hero has been done by a nostalgia critic, it's been done by Brandon, and it's been done by Deuce Deacon. And chances are, we'll do it. I don't know, Screamer. I'm really busy right now, you know. I've got university assignments due, and honeymoon to Thailand coming up, and there's that play I'm in. I'm swamped. I will not stop talking about this until you do it. That's what the wife says. Did she put you up to this? Okay, good. So, where's the film? It's not here. Oh, have you checked the DVD case in the other room? Perfect. Wait, you haven't told me what film we're doing! Just read the title card. Oh. We're going to be that kind of review show. Oh, not that movie. Oh, and get dressed. You look like a middle-aged woman. Greetings, people of the internet. Silverbolt here, and... Screamer, are we really going to do a niche film? At least no one's done it before. It just seems a really strange one to do for a pilot episode. It'll get people's attention. The film uses image matrix technology, technology that has previously been used as a form of motion capture for such things as Harry Potter Order of the Phoenix, Grand Theft Auto 4, and the Black Eyed Peas music video, Boom Boom Pow. I don't know that one. Was a 2010 CGI animated release. It was made by Codex Pictures and directed by Martin Pick. You may not know that name, because he hasn't done a lot. In fact, Ultramarine is his only directed movie. That doesn't say a lot. James Cameron, this guy is not.
Brother Leader, report to the chapel. Guard the codex.
The story of itself is written by Dan Abnett, the guy who, in Games Workshop and Black Library terms, who are their publishing company, is best known for the Gaunt's Ghost series, a fantastic series of books focusing on very much human soldiers. To those people outside of Black Library, Dan Abnett's name may ring a bell, as he has written for such fine institutions as Marvel Comics. There's another point I'm going to make about Dan Abnett. The film itself has pulled together several well-known British actors. You've got Terence Stamp, Donald Sumter, John Hurt, and one of my personal favourite actors, Sean Pertwee. Let's face it, he has so far been the best Alfred. The film is set in the Warhammer 40,000 mythos, a lore setting that is owned by Games Workshop, a British company who make tabletop miniatures. The idea is that the human race is now a vast galaxy-spanning empire that is the complete opposite of the, say, Star Trek's Federation. It's dark, it's depressing, it's violent. People are almost universally miserable. And it's ruled over by a monodeity cult in the form of the Emperor. And this church is a cross between Christian fundamentalism and medieval flagellance. It's not a very nice place to live if you're just a regular person. However, there are heroes in the form of the Space Marines, genetically engineered superhumans who are given loads of extra special organs and then hypno-indoctrinated into following the Imperial cult, the religion of the Emperor. One of these Space Marine forces, they're divided into things called chapters, are the Ultramarines. They're basically Romans in big armour. And they have been both the focal and the object of derision for an awful lot of the fan base over the years. They went from being just generic guys in blue and yellow armour, which later became gold armour, to they can do absolutely everything and each one is essentially Superman. This movie focuses on a small squad of these soldiers, and there are problems. After some absolutely horrible opening action sequences that make no sense, we cut to a voiceover provided by John Hurt, who doesn't even play an Ultramarine in it.
They are the champions of mankind. And the greatest of them all are the Ultramarines.
We open on our squad of heroes and characters for this film. You've got Captain Cerberus, voiced by Terence Stamp, Brother Python, voiced by Donald Sumter, Brother Proteus, voiced by Sean Pertwee, and Brother Veranor, voiced by Steve Waddington. There is other ones, but let's face it, they're just here to provide cannon fodder. So I'm not even going to bother learning their names, because I know none of them are going to survive past, I'd say, at most the third act.
You fight
And what the fuck is that? What the hell is with their faces? They look like melted wax! Oh my god! Okay, I know it was 2010, but come on! There have been CGI movies that, other than this, that have better portrayal of facial animation. My god, their eyes! Their eyes are so dead! Seriously, what the fuck? That was the best they could do? We then get our expedition dump as to what's just going on throughout the course of this movie.
You are about to receive the honor of going into combat for the first time as Ultramarines.
Wait, they're novices! Well, what's wrong with that? Before a Space Marine becomes a fully fledged battle brother, before they are allowed to put on that big armour that you see they're wearing, they first join something called the Scout Company. This is the testing the waters to see if they're worthy by putting them in combat situations. A Space Marine does not get given a suit of power armour and sent straight out into the field with no combat experience. They have at this point years, maybe decades of combat experience. That's just bullshit. We then move on to them bowing before this big hammer, but let's face it, that particular plot point isn't going to show up again until the third act, so we might as well just... They also stock up on some ludicrously oversized weapons. By now it's clear that we're developing our overarching character traits. Proteus is the cocky, hot-headed, arrogant little shit. Python is a grizzled and elderly veteran weighed down by the score of years. And Cerberus is just your typical company gruff commander. They head down to the planet Mithron. Cerberus explaining to his team that this is a shrine world belonging to another chapter, the Imperial Fists, and there is 100 Imperial Fists on here guarding the shrine, but they've sent out a distress signal and there's been no contact since. So, uber generic space rescue mission. Wait, 100 Imperial Fists, a full battle company of hardened veteran warriors are all completely wiped out, but 10 noobs and 2 vets are going to save the day just because they're the Ultramarines. Isn't this the kind of shit that Matt Ward masturbates? GW signed off on everything that Matt Ward wrote. Oh, come on. I'm talking about the Ultramarines here. I can't not dump on the writing of Matt Ward. The ship lands and the team disembark and they, like us, get our first look at the planet. And oh my fucking god, that is some terrible CGI rendering. I mean, that's just lazy. Could they not have put something in there? Rather than it being nothing but beige and grey and black. And this black is a theme throughout this movie. It doesn't just show up here. The movie is very, very shadowed, and there's lots of dark recesses, and unless there's a big gun going off, you can't really see an awful lot of what's going on. And that is purely to hide the fucking shameful CGI. Now seems as good a time as any to talk about the design of the marine armour. Now, it looks very, very fancy and ornate, and especially services to denote his higher rank status. And visually, it looks very nice. The faceplates, the mouth grills are a bit too big, but can look past that. Overall, the overall design looks beautiful. I can't fault that too much in the aesthetics of it. But they move wrong, right? To give you some idea, a Space Marine is 7 to 8 feet tall in his armour. And that armour is big and blocky. You know, the pauldrons are out here, and, you know, the armour is big and it's bulky, and there should be some real weight when they're moving around. They should take off like a train. You know, they're slow to build up, but good luck stopping them once they get ahead of speed. But they don't. They move like they're wearing fucking Lycra cosplay Space Marine armour. There's no feeling of power to the power armour. I mean, take another example of powered armour in media, and take a look at the power armour in Fallout 4. That feels heavy. This feels like nothing. A floaty space speeder flies off to scout with a red helmeted Marine, which means that the sergeant of the squad, because red helmets in the Ultramarines donate sergeants, is now in the land speeder rather than with the rest of his squad. Okay, you could argue that, you know, Cerberus is there to lead them, but surely a novice sergeant should be spending as much time as possible with his novice men to see how they react to pressure, to see how they react. In regards to the land speeder, in the tabletop mechanics, land speeders do not go with tactical squads, but for a reconnaissance mission in a lore setting, yeah, I see absolutely no reason why they wouldn't have a land speeder. As they move through the featureless, bland landscape, Proteus starts hearing voices in his head, but it's dismissed by the others as simply ambient vox chatter. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen, he's hearing voices. What's with the skulls on the HUD? Are they supposed to be like extra lives in case they fall down a hole? When, all of a sudden, this happens.
Vigilant. Put it out. Put it out now.
Be calm. It is just corpuscent.
You're the 40k lore expert. Do banners usually catch fire for no reason in this universe? No! This is just more shit they shoehorned into this movie. The Space Marine floaty device gets ambushed and both of its pilots are killed, thus eliminating Sergeant Corvus from the proceedings, and then the team that are currently coming in behind them also. The group make it to the shrine, finding it empty except for lots of dead dudes in yellow armour. And then they get attacked again. Cerberus, getting all fighty, toughy, starts fighting the big bad, loses, throws his sword to Proteus, suggesting that he is now in charge, and promptly goes through a wall with the demon. Gee, I wonder how long it takes before he comes back to save the day. Which, seeing as he's been nothing but an irrational hothead the entire time through this movie, all we've seen of Proteus, makes it a perfectly logical thing to do to put him in charge. After this, with our team of intrepid explorers cut down by nearly half by this point, they get into the shrine itself, where they meet Chaplain Karnak, voiced by John Hurt, and his companion, Nidon. Chaplain? Warrior priest, leads by example, kind of like a motivational poster on legs.
Karnak, Chaplain of the Imperial Fists.
How many are you?
Karnak and Nidon are all that's left of an Imperial Fist company that are guarding the Liber Mithras, an Imperial Fist artifact that is housed and guarded on the planet. The Ultramarines agree to get the Imperial Fists off the planet with their artifact, though Proteus and Veranor, or his Proteus' buddy pal, are a bit suspicious that only 2 have survived when all the others are dead. As they move out, they are attacked once more by the Black Legion, Chaos Space Marines under the service of a warlord called Abaddon, and the banner starts to glow again.
Proteus. Proteus. The Emperor protects.
But having a loaded bolter never hurt either.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give it that. This whole battle scene is basically bad guys charge, good guys stand there and shoot. That's really all there is to it. The action in this movie is extremely lackluster. It's like, shit's going on. It's either too dark to see or not entertaining enough to watch. And then Karnak does this. I don't know what that's supposed to be. A Crozius is a symbol of office. It's essentially a great big fucking club. It is not a magical flamethrower. Also, chaplains aren't psychers, and psychers are the 40k version of magic users. So I have no idea what this Crozius is supposed to be. Nowhere in the lore or in the game does the chaplain's symbol of office, as I said, a great big club, ever do. As the fight goes on, our cannon fodder Marines, who are fairly indistinguishable from each other, start getting picked off one by one. One gets an axe in his shoulder, another one tries to grab a damaged flame gun, and it explodes, apparently killing him, but not anybody else. And then this happens. Who promptly goes all Rambo and starts hacking and slashing his way through Marines like they aren't even there. I'll give it credit, this scene is actually quite good. The animation is solid for the most part. It's been quite chalky in other places. And it's enjoyable. For once, you can actually see what's going on. I mean, yeah, he's just wading his way through nameless drones, but it's still entertaining. Which, seeing as he is a veteran commander of the Ultramarines, yeah, I'll give it a pass, even though he's fighting the Black Legion, who are also veteran commanders and quite possibly older than him. But that's going into lore we're not going to touch. It's a big heroic scene, and finally they're able to make it to their escape ship. And why couldn't their escape ship get that little bit closer to them? You know, why did they have to go so far to get... Oh, right, yeah, of course, the fucking plot says so.
Let him sniff out taint.
It is the chaplain that I am worried about.
Where is he?
The armory, Captain.
The Liber Mortis is completely empty. There's nothing written on the pages. And Cerberus pretty much accuses Karnak. When the banner is brought in, it catches fire, which is when it says that there is chaos demons nearby. Karnak accuses Cerberus of something, and Cerberus responds by blowing his brains out.
Demon.
No. You. Heretic.
If the demon is dead, why is this still burning?
But what a twist! The captain was the villain all along. Or at least since he vanished halfway through the movie. In what was totally and not expected turn of events. Yep, Cerberus is possessed by the spirit from the shrine, who had kept Karnak and Nidon alive as bait because he knew that people would eventually come for them. Except the Ultramarines followed an automated signal and believed that everyone was pretty much dead. But hey-ho, look, we're in the final act, don't start thinking about it too much now. Proteus, Nidon and Veranor, who about at this time are pretty much the only ones still alive, head towards the Reclusium, which is the big room from the start of the movie, directed there by a very badly wounded python. The three open fire on Cerberus, who is quickly mutating, but the creature leaps away into the shadows before they can properly pin it down. It leaps back out, takes care of Brother Nidon by throwing him into a wall, and... Wait, what the fuck is that? I mean, I know the creature is supposed to be mutating, but look at it! Its legs are completely out of proportion to its body! Come on! The demon Cerberus keeps Proteus pinned down while he starts inscribing a ritual on the floor of the Reclusium in order to possess him. That is until Python shows up and promptly stabs the guy in the back. And promptly gets killed. You know what, fuck it. He only had 2 days to retirement. Proteus then grabs the Thunder Hammer that we saw at the very beginning, told you it would come back, and proceeds to promptly beat the ever-loving fuck out of the thing, culminating in him smashing its head, and thus ending the threat.
I'm up from a crag, and I know no fear!
The movie ends with our hero Proteus getting a promotion, presumably getting his youthful exuberance tempered somewhat, and Veranor being labelled as his second in command. Assumedly, it doesn't actually tell us, but he's standing next to Proteus as he talks about how glorious the hammer. Thankfully, the best thing I can say about this movie is that it's short. It's not long, over an hour long. And from a lore perspective, this film totally shits on the lore of Space Marines. And it's really strange because whilst it's certainly not hugely in-depth, there are some things that you are seemingly expected to know about the universe. So it's made for some degree for the fans. But the Space Marines don't act like Space Marines. You know, these Space Marines are bickering towards each other and constantly... I mean, one of the things that I'm going to mention now that I didn't include earlier on is that Proteus accuses Python of cowardice. This is a seasoned veteran of the Ultramarines. He's an apothecary, a highly trusted job within the Ultramarine ranks. It's why he wears the white armour. Again, something you had to know in order to watch the film. But Proteus just outright calls him a coward. That is simply something that any Ultramarine would not. This movie is just bad. Period. The CGI is the most obvious problem. It's piss poor. It's fucking shit. And it's lazily hidden by the use of lots of shadows and dark things that are supposed to make it look atmospheric, but all it does is when you do see things in actual proper lighting, they look terrible. The facial animations are the fucking thing of nightmares. I mean, come on! This movie came out in 2010. Both PS3 cutscenes were far better than this movie. The other problem that this movie has is its story is way too simplistic. It's your standard fish out of water. Novice troops go into a situation that they get rapidly pulled in over the head. 3/4 of them die. They all come out. Leader kills the baddie. That's pretty much it. There's no suspense. There's no real overarching characters. Everyone is just there to drive the story forward. The story itself, despite the fact that it's written by Dan Abnett. Dan fucking Abnett! The guy gave us Gaunt's Ghosts, and then he just gives us this generic action plot for a Space Marine movie. The score, I will admit, is superb. They actually seem to put some real effort into the music here, with lots of gothic chanting throughout, just to bring home the medievalness of the setting. So I cannot fault the score on that, but everything else is just... The action sequences are just totally weird and are either so fast and shaky cam or completely static and not immersive in any way, shape or form. And to reflect this, most people have reacted very negatively to this movie. The production cost was $8.9 million US. This film, including its Blu-ray release sales, took in $295,000 US. And it pretty much stopped Games Workshop from ever greenlighting a movie about their product again. Until the Eisenhorn series comes out on either Netflix or Amazon. I think this film would have worked so much better if the characters had been human. The story is written by Dan Abnett, but he writes as if the Space Marines are humans, but they're not. They don't act like Space Marines, they don't move like Space Marines, they look like Space Marines, but they're a bit too thin in that armour. They should be bulkier. You know, they should have much more mass to them, but they don't. And from the lore, it just... Space Marines don't go in as novices into battle! Ugh. You want to take over? This is a niche movie that changes the lore that the fans already know. So it alienates that particular fan base. And it's not quite casual enough for people who are going in completely cold. From a production point of view, a script point of view, an animation point of view, everything about this movie, apart from its score, is just piss-poor, subpar crap. It's the kind of thing you'd expect a company like The Asylum to put out. If you want a good Space Marine outing, play the game of the same name on PS3 and Xbox 360. Play Space Marine. That was a great game. Pity it never got a sequel. Okay, so Silverbolt, how was doing your first movie review? Yeah, I admit, that was kind of fun. Good, because next time I've got a real humdinger for you. Hold up, Screamer. You picked this movie, which means next time I'm choosing the movie. Will it have boobs? Well, yes. On the actresses. Join us next time when we're going to be taking a look at one of my all-time personally hated films. And remember, just because you think a movie is bad doesn't mean it can't be good. And just because you think a movie is good doesn't mean it can't be bad. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.